I see the protection in Presbyterianism,
Mm.
and that there's different levels of church courts. We went through the book of Exodus, like I mentioned, and um, there's when Jethro, Moses' father-in-law,
Yeah.
comes to him and says,
Mm-hmm.
"Listen, you are gonna kill yourself. You can't do all this. You can't judge Israel." Moses was like judging Israel by himself, 3 million people or something.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was coming to him with the cases, and he's like, "You're kind of being stupid here. Like, you need to delegate some authority, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And even in that chapter, it lays out different levels of courts. Um, Interesting, and I think that's something that's important in Presbyterianism, that you can appeal, you can make an appeal. So if you have a problem with what your local session of elders in your local congregation, their decision, you appeal it to the presbytery. If you have a problem with the presbytery's decision, you can appeal it to, well, General Assembly, or in our PCA context, the Standing Judicial Committee.
Mm-hmm.
So I just I find that accountability. Um, and another thing is, and maybe I guess this is part of Presbyterian church government, but we have a very clear book of church order. So it's not like we're not making it up on the spot,
Mm-hmm.
right? And another thing, and people often will rip on this aspect, is that ministers are members of the presbytery. Teaching elders are members of the presbytery and not of their local congregation. And sometimes people will
Mm-hmm.
kind of laugh at that and say, "Well, what's that about?" But
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in that, because, um, for example, if the congregation in congregationalism
Yeah.
run into real problems of bias, if there's an issue with the pastor, and the
Mm-hmm.
pastor will often run away from that situation, because what you have is the congregation both being the accusers and the judge,
Yeah.
right? And that's a basic principle of justice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like in our court system, in our secular court system, it's very distinct. You distinguish between the judge or the jury and the prosecution, right?
Yeah.
There's prosecution, there's defense, and then there's the judge or the jury.
Mm-hmm.
Those are, but what you get, what happens in congregationalism practically is they end up having oftentimes the the accusers being also the judges,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So that I think that's problematic. So I see the kind of biblical wisdom of Presbyterianism in
Mm-hmm.
that way. So that's the church polity, church government side of it.